A straight A student, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Let me guess. Some some teacher's pet studies all day, no friends, doesn't touch grass, skinny Asian, piano playing, maths doing, no fashion sense, nerd type of guy, right? Everyone wants to be a straight A student, but it seems that to reach that point, becoming a straight A student, you have to sacrifice having a social life. You have to put in the time. You can't be cool and be a good student, right? Well, no, but yes, but no. I get pretty good grades, I won't lie. But I'm also pretty cool, I'd say. Like, I don't know, maybe some people think I'm a teacher's pet, no life studies all day type of guy, like in the intro. But I know how to study well and how to become a straight A student while still having friends and while still having a life. Most students assume that they must study endlessly to do well. However, in How to Become a Straight A Student, Cal Newport argues that with the right study techniques, it's possible to make it so that you can make time to do things that you like as well. Most students most students assume they have to study endlessly to do well, but in How to Be a Straight A Student, Cal Newport argues that with the right study techniques, you can ace your studies in minimal time, so that it is actually possible to get good grades and still be cool. Number one, the straight A student mentality. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. I know you wanted the top 5 study tips, 15 different attractive student hobbies so that all the girls would be on you type of video, but hear me out. There was once a study done where there were two groups of people, Group A and Group B, and they sat down to do the exact same test. The only difference was that Group A had their questions in order from hardest to easy, whereas Group B had their test in order from easy to hard. So essentially, they were doing the exact same test, but just in the opposite order, you could say. But there was a catch. You had to lock in your answer for that question before moving on to the next one. So what that meant was Group A had to lock in their answer for that 30 marker, the hardest question, before they can move on to the next question. And now these students were the same ability. They averaged the same test scores, and and now it's important to understand that these students had the same average test score. They'd all both averaged the same grade normally in school. But but after the study, Group B, the group that had their tests from easy to hard, swept Group A by more than 30%. Now, if we think about why this is, it's actually pretty obvious. One of the groups were one it but but now if you think about why this is, it's actually pretty obvious. One of the groups opened their test, saw that they had the 30 marker to do, and they struggled to do that. They're probably thinking, what the hell, why is this test so hard? Bro, if this is the first question, what's the other questions going to be? Because mind you, they couldn't look ahead in the paper. They had to lock in the answer for that question. They'll start doubting themselves. Am I even smart enough? Like, why is this test so hard? Should I have studied more? And they sowed the doubt, and and with that, they'd have sown the seed of doubt in their minds. And so by the time they were on the easy questions, they would still be doubting themselves and their ability, and they quite frankly would have performed really poorly. Whereas the students in Group B were the opposite, so they would have built up self-confidence and self-esteem as the test progressed, and so they swept the other group. And a lot of the time, the straight A student mentality is what you're lacking. You have the ability, you know what you have to do, you have the study skills, and yet it just comes down to the mentality. And a lot of the times you hold yourself back because of the fear of failure. If you revise and still do badly, people will laugh at you. You invested time, and if it didn't work, if you invested time to revise and you find that it doesn't work, you're going to be scared of putting in the time next time. In the anime Blue Lock, Shikori is a character in Blue Lock who was scared of losing his remaining speed by trying too hard after he lost. Okay, what? Shikori is a character in Blue Lock who. Shikori is a character in Blue Lock Chikori is a character in Blue Lock who's well known for his speed, but after an injury to his knee, he's scared of trying too hard because he's scared of losing the remaining speed that he has. And this gave him physical chains, and you might be losing. And this gave him physical chains. He was scared to lose what he already had, so he'd never play to his potential. He could only play the way he wanted to. He could only reclaim the skill. He could only exceed. He could only surpass what everyone thought he could when he reclaimed his ego and he believed that he could make progress. And so what you might be lacking is self-belief and ego. And an easy way to do this is to actually do other things outside of studying. The person who is already good at something, the athlete who already has multiple medals, the athlete who already knows that he's good at one thing, is actually proven to be better at anything else he does, like studies. And this is because of the overflow effects. When you have confidence or an adeptness in one skill, that actually overflows into any other thing you do. Someone who's already experienced being a winner will be a winner at everything, whereas someone who's only experienced losing will be a loser at everything. Josh Waitzkin, an international master at chess at 16, also became the world champion at Tai Chi, two seemingly unrelated things, but it was just the impact of the overflow effect. The second thing is planning and scheduling. If you want to have time to do other things other than just to study, you have to learn how to schedule. I've talked about this principle a lot, but Parkinson's law says that instead of actually setting the goal to study all day, which is a goal that I know you've set before, it's better to just plan out 2 hours of studying you're going to do, and then in that 2 hours, write down specifically what you're going to do. Not only will this be more efficient, as you'll be utilizing deep work and it will minimize procrastination. This sense of healthy stress you're giving yourself, I only have 2 hours to complete this, let me lock in, like that kind of vibe, that actually makes it so that you minimize the probability you'll get distracted while also increasing your focus. This act of road mapping and scheduling is actually essential, especially if you want to make time for other things. The way that I still go out with friends, have fun and go outside and still have time to study is to mind map and schedule. People tend to think that, since I'm going out tomorrow with friends, People tend to think that, since I'm going out with friends tomorrow, I'm not going to have time for anything else. But that's actually the wrong way to view it. So let's say you wake up at 7. You probably have a good few hours before you actually need to go out. And that's good, and that's ample time to either go to the gym or get a good block's worth of revision done. In reality, you have pockets of time lying around that you don't even realize. And you're only going to be able to utilize it and realize you have those time slots when you schedule out your day. For example, I actually find that on days which I go out, I find myself focusing even more. Because it's like in the morning, I would tell myself that's the only time I have. And so I actually need to focus, lock in and get this done. And once I do, I'll have the day to look forward to. You probably spend an hour on transport anyway, so that's where you can look at your Quizlet flashcards instead of scrolling on TikTok. The key to utilizing these times is to schedule out the hours that you do have available and seeing what you can slot in. It reduces stress as well as improving performance. And the third thing is to get ahead of the game. Start your revision early and do little but often. This is something I struggle with because for a lot of us, revision is just, oh, there's a test next week. I'm going to start revision like 3 days before. And the thing is, you have to frame revision differently. It should start from the moment you learn a topic until the time you take a test. Revision shouldn't be a thing where it's done the day before. It's actually a whole process. It's a whole timeline in between those two times. Spacing out your assignments may also help you master the material better due to the spacing effect, which is something that says our brains learn information better when we space it over a longer period of time. So although cramming can work, it's actually proven that it's not beneficial for your long-term memory. And this can be used in conjunction with the last 2 points. Using the straight A student mentality, you can motivate yourself to do these little things. You can find by having self-confidence and believing that this can work, believing that if you put in the time you'll get the results, will actually motivate you to study. And then planning and scheduling out your day to fit in those 15 minutes before you go to sleep or while on the bus will make it so that you can get ahead of the game and put it in little but often. I'm sorry if this wasn't your favorite top 15 study habits, top 10 badass habits to do as a student. But these 3 things will really help you, and although not pretty, it is what's going to work. In conclusion, believe in yourself. Believing in yourself and having a self-esteem is different to being egotistical. And then learn how to schedule your day so that in times which it seems like you don't have any time, you can utilize those pockets of time. And lastly, get ahead of the game.